Hello. Welcome to 8 p.m. behind the scenes. I am coming to you on Monday night. Now, this is really exciting because I am just about finished on our Middle East, South Asian workshop tour, and it's been quite a journey. In fact, just Saturday, we had our final one in Australia, the final half-day workshop, which was in Canberra. And I've got to say, one of the things I was sharing with those who had come in the morning session and those who had come in the afternoon session, the lessons that I've learned and the growth that it's taken to get to these half-day happenings, these half-day workshops of teaching, of training, of mentoring, of coaching, of sharing with people how to find their passion, how to use speaking to really accelerate that passion and to create a movement of monetization with that. And what's been really interesting, if you're not on my list, unboxyourgift.com, I advise you to get that because I share a lot of written behind the scenes. A lot of the things that I've spoken about in my workshops, I actually share it with my audience online that is in my Unbox Your Gift community. So that's one place to go to hear more about the behind the scenes and the growth that it takes to stretch every year. But specifically what I wanted to speak about tonight is one of my greatest joys. In fact, Saturday, this week that just passed, Saturday was my birthday. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but here goes. It's voila, behind the scenes, going right into it. So Saturday was my birthday, and on purpose, I put the workshop on my birthday, and here's why. You know, when you kind of think to yourself, you come to a set of crossroads in your life, and you think, I'm either going this way or I'm going that way. And there's a point in time where you think, maybe there's more to me than what I'm currently doing. Maybe there's more to me than this 9 to 5, 9 to 8, 9 to 10 p.m. job that I'm at. Maybe there's more to me than what I've currently realized. And when I came to that realization, probably about, I don't know, when I had just finished university, I had always had that question. What do I really want to do? And I know for myself that I fell into, because I did a degree, and so I fell in from one job to another. And obviously I didn't just kind of do it off the cuff, but I always knew in the back of my head that I knew there was something else that I wanted to do. And for this year, when I had my workshops, I specifically wanted to have it on my birthday because that was my gift to myself. In that, it was my gift that I actually did what I've always wanted to do, which was just go and speak and train and deliver and teach. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Ever since I was in year 6, 7 years old, I remember being in year 2, and I remember going into recess and going into lunch, and in the evenings I would write out worksheets for my friends in Lane Cove Public School. And I would give these sheets out during recess and lunch, and I would ask them to fill it out. And it just like work, like stuff that I would just make up off the top of my head that would just give me joy. And it's interesting because when I teach people how to find their passion, one of the main exercises I get them to do is to go back into their history, to go back into their childhood. Because your childhood has keys that no other time in your life does. Your childhood has the keys to what it is that you really love to do when you didn't have to think about how much money you wanted to make, what title you wanted to have, what status you needed to have, what kind of pay bracket you want. None of that mattered when you were just in flow. And so it's interesting because when I was actually securing the dates for my workshop tour, I actually had that the 16th of September would be a day that I would deliver my workshops because it was in gratitude to the fact that, number one, I'm doing what I love, and number two, just a huge level of gratitude to God for the opportunity and the possibility that it can happen, right? And so I'm not sure where you are in the world and what you are in terms of the journey towards your passion, the journey to monetize that passion, because having a passion is super. And it's interesting because some people feel shy when it comes to monetizing it. Let me tell you something. The only way you're going to really enjoy your passion, the only way you're going to be doing it outside of a hobby, outside of a 9 to 5 job and actually have true fulfillment is if you do generate an income from it. If you look at anyone who loves what they do and have changed industry, You look at anyone that you admire. You look at someone like a Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, when she went out into India to care for the poor and the destitute, she didn't have stacks of cash in the bank to call on, or under the bed to call on to go and actually help. She lobbied the churches. She was a venture capitalist. She actually went out and lobbied the churches to help her. That's a skill set. That's a skill set that she monetized. Now, the monetization didn't specifically go into her pocket. The monetization went and helped others. But that's still a form of monetizing it. She could not have helped the amount of people she did and have the reach as she had if she didn't have the skill of learning to monetize her mission. And that's why it's really, really important that sometimes, in fact, people were telling me in the workshops that every time the conversation of money comes up, they kind of feel like when it goes after your passion, they kind of feel a bit, maybe it's the wrong thing to do, but God doesn't want any of us to be poor. God doesn't want any of us to be begging on the street. It's part of our dignity. It's part of our integrity to go and find a skill set, to go and find what we're good at, our God-given talent or gift or skill set, which is why it's been given to us. Now go and monetize it. It's been done through the ages. It's been done from time and time again. Every teacher, every person that's been on earth is required to find that skill which they're good at. Now go and monetize instead of thinking, I don't know how to do it, I'm a bit scared. Well, you can't be scared, because by God, that's a God-given right that you need to go monetize, so that we're not on the streets, we're not begging, we're not trying to the point is you need to be able to monetize it. So I share that with you because the systemization of it. What do I mean by that? When I teach people how to find their passion, it's not something like I do off the cuff, like, let's do a bit of an exercise and hopefully we land at it. When I teach people how to find their passion, it's a step-by-step process that I take people through. So in other words, when you go, for example, you go to the supermarket, you know for a fact that aisle number 1's got the shampoos, aisle number 2 has got the eggs, aisle number 3 has got the tin can of beans. Like, there is a system when you go to the supermarket to go shopping. There is a system. And once you've got all your groceries in your trolley, there is a system that the supermarket has of how to check out, where you need to go to scan your goods so that you can go pay for it, right? There is a system. Everything that works has a system, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's your habits, whatever you're doing, there is a system behind it. And so when I'm going out and teaching people how to find what they're truly good at minus their resume, there is a system that I teach, so that when I take you through like your childhood, when I take you through things like your aspirations, what contribution you want to have, what legacy do you want to leave after you've been and gone from this earth, like that's part of your passion, not just here one day, gone the next. It's about what else do I want to give outside of self-interest, so it can create meaning and movement for yourself. It's a system that I teach, such that just like you go into a supermarket and you know exactly where the toilet paper is, you know exactly where the toothbrush is, you know exactly where the toothpaste is, you know where everything is, so it's systemized, so you can just go grab it and everything's in. It's the same thing for you when you have your passion. When you come to me, when I teach it to you, I can take you through a system, because I know that if I take you through this system, you're going to get this result. I know it because I've done it. I've taught it so many times that now I know it's a system, right? It's a step-by-step process. If you do it in the way that I'm teaching you, just like when you go to the supermarket, you go through the ways that they're put there, you'll get through shopping very quickly. You know where things are. And just like when I teach people the system, they find their passion. And this is why it's important for you. This is why I'm sharing it with you. Whatever it is that you do, whether it's wanting to find your passion or whether it's to monetize it, look at the system that you're deploying. One of the things that I find that people lack is, and no one likes to admit it, this is a fact that no one likes to admit. No one likes to admit that they're not coachable. No one wants to admit that they don't have a system to being coachable. Here's what I mean by that. Coachability is that here's what you got to do. Now you got to go do it. It's pretty much it. Here's where the challenge is. Last year when I was coaching under, I had like 5-6 people that I was learning from last year. And 2 of them said to me, you need to go overseas and you need to meet me. Like, that's not convenient by any stretch of the imagination. I was not ready to do that. I didn't budget for it. I didn't have the time for it. It wasn't on my calendar. It wasn't on my schedule. But those who I was learning from said, this is what you got to do. Now, there's a moment in time where I could have gone, no, don't want to do it, can't do it, it's too hard, it's not on my calendar, I don't have the time, don't have the resources, whatever it might be. Or I could have just been coachable. And coachable is being hard. It's easy to go to the gym and start running when you're fresh. It's harder to go to the gym and keep running when you're 30 minutes in, when you're 40 minutes in, when the climb's about to come. And it's the same thing with coachability. Once you start coaching with someone and you accept someone as a teacher, a mentor, someone to guide you, in the beginning it's easy. You do what they say. What becomes hard is when the rubber meets the road, when you don't want to do it, when you think I don't have the resources. And that's a system. Because if every time someone says something, when you invest in yourself or when you look up to someone and say, I'm going to take this person on board as a guide, as a mentor, as a coach, as a teacher, just to get me to the next level, whatever mindset it is around that, there is a system that you deploy to implement that. And your success or failure or lack of implementation comes about by the level of system or lack of system that you have. So in other words, what kind of habits do you deploy? What kind of habits do you have? Because if your habit is it's too hard, I'm going to just crush and burn, I'm not going to go for it, then that's your level of coachability. You don't have a very strong system in yourself. And if you don't have a very strong system in yourself or habits, it's going to be very hard to pursue a passion. Why? Because passion is all about being coachable. Because people say, yes, I want to be a writer. Yes, I want to be a filmmaker. Yes, I want to be a designer. And that's a passion that I want to execute into the world. Well, that's going to require a whole lot of coachability. Because if you've never gone into that industry, if you've never delved into deep into that, it's going to require you to upskill, up-level in a way that is foreign to you, foreign to your system. And unless you have habits and a system that's going to support you, you're going to come out of the game before you can even taste that passion. At the same time, if you're looking to monetize it, if you're looking to make money with that thing that you love to do, you need to have a system for it. How are you going to monetize it? What's going to be step 1, step 2, step 3? So that once you have step 1, step 2, step 3, all you're now doing is rinsing and repeating. And what I mean by that, it's a system that's allowing you to generate that monetization. So for example, when I teach people how to speak, when I teach people, not public speaking per se, but when I teach people how to use speaking as a vehicle of marketing, because let's face it, it's the only time you have zero competition. Like right now, you're probably on social media, you're watching, scrolling, you're on your inbox scrolling, you are probably looking at TV, watching TV and watching all the ads. There's competition everywhere. Speaking is the only one where you get to stand up and there ain't no competition next to you. There ain't no competition the other side of you. It is just you, which is why it makes it remarkably powerful. And so when people come to me to teach them how to use speaking and how to craft their signature talk to be able to grow their business, get leads, get sales, get clients, build their credibility, leverage their time, get their movement out into the world, their mission out into the world. One of the things that I do is I teach them the system of how to put a talk together that enables someone to say yes to them. Because it's different from an information session. It's different from an education session. It's different from a keynote. What I teach is specifically for business. If you're looking to grow or expand your base of clients, if you're looking to, I've taught this to not-for-profits. If you're looking to fundraise, if you're looking to attract members to what you do, you need to have a system so that every time you do this, you're going to get a certain result. So when I've gone to my workshops, every time I've presented, there is an underlying system of my presentation. I don't just get up and go, hi everyone, how you going? And here we're going to talk about, we're going to cover this, we're going to cover that, and hopefully, there is a step-by-step way in which we do it. Systems rule the world. Systems is really, if you take a look at anything that's done well, and we mentioned Mother Teresa before, she had a system of how to lobby and ask for money to help her with her mission. That's a system, right? When I teach people in my workshops, if it's the Middle East, if it's South Asia, I have a system of how I teach people. When I prepare for a workshop, I have a system behind me that enables me to know what I need to do step by step, so I'm not reinventing the wheel every time. When I'm communicating with those people who work with me, there is a system I'm teaching them so that we're not doing the same thing over and over. There is a step-by-step process. If we employ this, we get that same result. So my point in sharing this with you guys is that look at your system. What kind of systems are you deploying in your career? If you have a system, whether it's conscious or unconscious, there is something that's happening. What is it that you're implementing, and is it working and supporting you? Because I can guarantee you, if you're not monetizing, you don't have a very good system. Or not monetizing at the level that you desire, there's not a good system. If you have a passion and you kind of get excited, then it fizzles out. You get excited, then you have a system that doesn't support you. You have a system of habits, of how things have got to be. The foundation's not strong for the system to actually eventuate. So my invitation to you is I would not have been able to do this South Asian, Middle Eastern tour if I didn't have systems in place. If I didn't have a certain signature talk, if I didn't have a process behind the whole scenes, because there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes that nobody sees. But there is a system that supports me that I've created so that if I'm going to Singapore, if I've gone to, my next stop is Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I know step by step what I'm doing, so I'm not flustered, I'm not going crazy, I'm not trying to do something new every single time, because that becomes exhausting. And so just as I have a system physically in terms of my work arrangements, it's the same thing with my passion. There's a system that supports me. So I re-enroll myself every day when I kind of get fizzle out. Everyone has fizzle out days when I kind of don't want to go ahead, or you've got to have a system. You have a system within the system. A system is your work, your passion, your career, your business. And within that, you've got to have other smaller systems to support the bigger mission. And that's how you build, and that's how you really create your movement into the market. So it's not just something that you want to do inside your mind, inside your world, but it's a movement you want to create. So my movement is that I want to be able to support those people who don't know what they're good at, those people who never got a good mark, those people who never really succeeded in anything, or succeeded but are never fulfilled. Knowing what your God-given gift is the best thing you can do for yourself. And to have that go into people's hands and be implemented, that's the movement that I want to create in the world. The ability to know that you have a belonging that is greater than what you are used to with a title or with a status or or the money bracket. There is a belonging that God has given you. And once you align yourself with that belonging, things start to go into effect. Just like when I train, and why I wanted to speak and have a workshop on my birthday, because it's a gift. It's a God-given gift. Now, I will evolve, so will my passion. But at this point in time, that's what it is. And I wouldn't know that if a system wasn't there to really up-level, support, and have the foundation for me settled. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And a big part of that is your level of coachability, to just stop the noise, to stop the distraction, to stop the back and fro arguments. Just stopping the ability to just stop and listen and be coachable, and not trying to get everything to your own comfortability. Because it's easy to say, I want it my way. But when you have it your way, you're never going to accelerate. And the only way you do is when you push yourself, which is why you want a passion, which is why you want to do something different, because you're not happy where you are. And so your body, your soul is craving for the level of growth. And unless you allow permission for that, you're always going to be stuck and be left uncoachable. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully that makes a difference in terms of getting you to think about your system, what you want to implement, what you want to do, and how that's going to affect you monetizing your mission. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you, what's tonight, Monday? Tuesday night, tomorrow night, behind the scenes. Catch you then. Bye.